RadioOnFire.com, yours truly, Diamond K, in here. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by the upcoming reality show, Chase the Dream Baltimore. See a group of fresh, talented artists with personalities as strong as their rhymes navigate through life, love, and the entertainment business who will rise to the top while they chase the dream. Visit Facebook.com/Chase the Dream now for more information on that. Diamond K in here, Radio on Fire Studios, Baltimore, Maryland. Special guest in the building. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Leslie Parker, and I am the author of Cycles of Pain.
Okay. So let's go to the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yes. Baltimore
East or west?
West.
Okay.
West Side girl all the way.
Okay. That's good. This will go just fine. Then, so did you grow up a reader?
Actually, I did. Both my aunts I have two aunts on my father's side that are principals. They're retired principals, and they just always shoved a book in my face. I didn't like reading initially, but once I was forced to, I really started enjoying it more.
Twisted your arm.
Yes.
So this is at an early age. Were you writing at an early age as well?
I was writing. Always was, trying to think of a movie that I wanted to produce or in my mind. So it's being creative. So yes.
So I guess growing up, are you an only child?
Oh no, I'm the baby.
Okay.
I thought you'd be able to tell that. Yeah, I'm the youngest. Always wanted attention, always wanted to shine. So yes.
So we were talking off camera. So you said that you're not shy.
Oh no, I'm not shy at all.
Okay. And so when did you always know that you were going to become an author?
I think at an early age, that was something I always desired to become. Now, being the youngest, you always wanted to stand out. And my sisters and I, we used to put on little skits. We used to play, and I even had started writing little stories. So I kind of felt like that was something I wanted to do. Well, I knew I always wanted to motivate people because I felt like I guess I was Martin Luther King's daughter. I could just really, speak.
Leslie King.
Leslie King. Yeah.
I got that. So you were never shy.
Never.
And so you felt like you had something to say.
Always did. They used to call me Motor Mouth because I always talk.
Okay, and you always talk.
Yes, I was called Motor Mouth by my mother's best friend, and my sister was Rocky, and my other sister was Hollywood. So because of that, I decided to use that name. That name they teased me with is Motor Mouth. I said, well, I'm going to use this.
Turn this negative to a positive.
Absolutely.
So what was your childhood like? Like if you could sum it up, was it a great childhood? It was good. It was how would you describe it?
Well, it was wonderful. I'm be honest with you. It was good. Came from a very loving family. My parents separated when I was 8 years old. Got a little depressed, because I love my dad. But through it all, my mother always taught us to stick together and to stay together.
The family.
So the family, yeah. So we always had that family cohesion. But I got in trouble along the way. I mean, I'm not going to say I was a perfect child. I was a little mischievous.
No such thing as a perfect child.
Right?
Yeah.
A little mischievous. Of course, once I became a parent myself, I never, admitted it to my daughters until later on. So child was good. I did, encounter some things. That's why I wrote about it in the book when I turned 15. That's when I thought I was grown and I knew it all.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. So what exactly brought on the book?
Well,
Cycles of Pain.
What brought on the book was when I would tell you it's life. Actually, I started just going through different cycles of pain. Went through, which I'm very open about it. I was sexually assaulted when I was 15 years old. I also later on in life, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I got married, been married twice. First marriage, I was involved in a domestic violence relationship. But I'm still smiling through it all. So that's why I'm here to tell your listeners that through whatever you're going through, it's just temporary. It's what you decide to do with that pain. So I called it Cycles of Pain so that I could just let people know that, hey, through your pain, you can heal. And as you can see, I'm a living witness right now.
So this provided degrees of healing for yourself as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Was it something specifically, like did you see some other young ladies going through going down a similar path, or what really motivated you to do this?
Well, you know what? I started running into people or just talking about just certain situations, some that were similar to mine. And I said, you know, I need to tell my story, and maybe perhaps me telling my story would allow them to be free with telling their story. So I did run into someone that was younger than me, around the same age. And I think that triggered it too. That was sharing something that happened to them, and it really hurt me to my heart because it wound up being a family member that touched them inappropriately. And I said, oh, it's time. I just felt like it's time for me to just, talk about it. Because what ultimately happens when you hide that pain, I realized, I said, well, what's going on with my relationships? You develop mistrust. You develop mistrust in your relationships. So I started not having a lot of trust, not trusting people, everything. I was suspicious, very suspicious or suspect. So I started just writing about it, and I said, that's what it is. I need to talk about it, and I need to go through, pain is, to me, is just like a cold. When you go through a cold, you feel the onset and you try to get a quick fix, but there's no quick fix with that. You have to go through the process and let it go through. So I let it play out. And I just started talking more about it. And honestly, years ago, I couldn't tell anybody about that pain. I couldn't even discuss, I was, someone put their hands on me. So now I just feel like I need to be an advocate. If that makes sense. Was this something that your family did not know? They did not know for 18 years. Yeah. My mother and my sister didn't know. The reason why I came out with it, I failed to tell you that, is because I ran into that person, that perpetrator that did this to me when I was 15. So I was 33 years old. And ironically, he lived next door. His sister lived next door to my sister. So he was standing by the door and he called my name. He said, Leslie. So it's, that old saying, you'll never forget that voice. Right. So I recognized his voice. And I actually went into a catatonic state. My girls were with me and they said, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? I didn't tell them then. So I didn't tell them until maybe when I got into my early 40s. But my mother, I broke down. I needed help. So I went to my mom. I said, Mom, I need to talk. I called a family meeting. We need to talk. And then they opened up to me. They said, why didn't you tell us? And then they started to realize, put the pieces together. Now I understand. So now I kind of look for this, whatever I can do with, to help other young ladies, not just women, but there are men too that have gone through this, to let them just get through it. So I feel good now. If you were to ask me,
I applaud you on that. That's very brave. And a lot of times these things go, I'm so surprised how many women have dealt with that type of challenge just over the years. There's different women that I've dated, different points in times, have told me, stories like that. It was just so surprising. I wondered whether my sisters, I have 3 sisters, whether this was something that they had dealt with. But yeah, so it just happens to a lot of women, unfortunately, and like you said, and guys, unfortunately.
And you mentioned that as far as women, what you just said about women that you've dated, that's why I think it's important. I did mention to my second spouse. I didn't tell it to my first spouse. And maybe that's why, I was involved in this domestic violence relationship, but that was probably me fighting back because I was angry, never dealing with that pain. So I realized after I opened up to, my second spouse about it that, honey, I was molested when I was 15 years old. I just figured I want to tell you that. So I had a conversation with him. We're still great friends. He said, Leslie, he said, I think more women should feel okay when they're dating a guy. When you're getting ready to get married, you should open up. Don't hide that. Don't hide what you've been through.
Were you ever able to confront him?
No. And, I made the statement to someone today that if I had the opportunity, deep down inside, I think that would seal it. I would like to confront him. I kept running into him, Diamond K, several times. It's just I could be anywhere at a yard sale, whatever. And it seemed like this guy would pop up. And ironically, he had a child my age. So I wanted to say something to him, but just
So
never
he was
had the
older.
nerve.
He was older than you.
He was older than me. Yeah, he was about 14, 15 years older than me.
So this is somebody that the family had trust in.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was actually he was my neighbor.
That's how it happened.
My best girlfriend's neighbor, and just so I can just tell you quickly how that happened.
Sure.
Okay, it's not.
As long as it's not too.
It's not
much
too
for you.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
too much
it's
for
not
you.
too much.
Too much for you.
No,
Nah,
no. Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Listen, my audience has heard it all. Okay.
All right. No, it's not too much for me. Because I'm hoping maybe he might be listening. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe it might twick his heart. You know,
need his ass
do
whooped.
something. Come on, get it. Beat his butt. That's right. So what happened? My girlfriend that lived 2 doors from me, it was her uncle, and he, I know he used to like joke with me and flirt with me for a little bit. So he said, Leslie, I went by to see her. He said, oh, she's not here. Let me give you a ride over to my sister's house. That's where she was. But that's not true. He took me. I lived in Baltimore City, and it felt like he took me to Edgewood, Maryland, but it was further out. Seemed like the ride was really long. And he said, come on in. Just stay in the car. I left something in the house that I had on the stove. So I believed him. I was naive. I said, okay. And come to find out, he was just making a reason for me to come in the house. He gave me a drink of wine, and I felt like taking that drink. I was a big girl. My mother wasn't home. My mother was at work. She always worked late at night. That's why I said it got me in trouble because I felt like I was grown. So I took the drink, and when they say date rape, all I remember is the next morning when that late on at night, he dropped me off, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was in a fog. But mind you, I had something to lean on. I had my dance. See, I was involved in a sport or activity, so I was a really good dancer. So I was able to dance through those emotions. So dancing, and besides God, ultimately helped me get through this. And I kept it a secret, and I got pregnant. I'm going to tell you, I got pregnant. I got pregnant.
Wait,
by the guy that molested me. Didn't have the baby because my mother felt like she thought it was actually not by him because, again, I hid the secret. So I got pregnant, went like 5 or 6 months. Then she took me to the emergency room and said, not the emergency room, to the hospital, and I had to go on through a delivery like a normal woman takes a delivery.
Yeah.
So after that, I just put that Band-Aid on it, got back to dancing, and it just didn't hit me until later on. So that's why I wrote this book.
And again, it's called Cycles of Pain.
Cycles of Pain.
You talk in the book about being able to, I don't want to say this, find out what brings you joy.
Oh, okay.
How can somebody recognize, in your opinion, something like that brings them joy?
Well, there's an old saying sometimes, what's that old saying? No pain, no gain. But when you go through any type of difficult circumstance, I know earlier you were talking about, the crisis that they're having now in Houston.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, later on, they're going to find joy. It's going to bring you closer to each other, and you'll learn to love yourself more. So I got joy out of even though I went through some things, I got a huge support system. So I'm able to sit right now with you and have joy. So I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I've learned to forgive. Forgiving is not necessarily for that other person, but it's for you too. So I had to forgive that person in order to forgive myself. So what I was once ashamed of, now it has no power over me. So that's my joy.
What type of reaction did your children give you?
Oh my goodness. First, I'm gonna be honest with you. My oldest daughter, she was a little not ashamed, but she was afraid for me to talk about it because I've had the book signing and everything. She said, "Ma, do you really want to tell people your business and everything like that?" And I said, well, sometimes, Nicole, it's not for everybody. Like Jay-Z, I even said it in the book. It's not for everybody. I said, but I felt like it was for me. So she was against it at first, but I did talk to her about it because also in the book, the issues I talk about were not just the sexual assault. I talk about the, domestic violence, abandonment, and so forth. After I got pregnant by that perpetrator, then, I guess I was looking for love, seeking for love. So I got to college. I went to Morgan State, got pregnant. And fortunately, this time, I was going to have an abortion, but my sister intervened and said, Leslie, I call it divine intervention. She said, whatever you're thinking about doing, don't do it. because I was getting ready to do it. I had the appointment.
Did she know?
Everything.
Did she know what you were going to do?
She did not know, but she said that to me. That was so scary. I said, "What do you mean? What I'm thinking about doing?" She said, "I don't know. Just God just told me that whatever you're thinking about doing, don't do it." Because she was highly religious. She had started going to church real young, and I said, "This woman is crazy." And sure enough, I got pregnant, and her father did not accept her. So I kind of wrote a little bit about that as far as abandonment and how girls need their dads and all that. So she was, kind of opposed, but now she'll say, "Oh yeah, my mother wrote a book." So she's proud of me.
Yeah, as she should be.
My granddaughter's proud of me. And the cover, this is my granddaughter's face. I had designed the cover. So,
okay.
So she said, okay. She said, "All right, what do you want to do?" And she said, "Well, you want me to take this picture?" She said, "All right, I'll go ahead and support you." But now she sees the legacy that I'm trying to leave with her. Don't be afraid to speak what's on your mind.
Absolutely, definitely, and talk about it. Definitely. So the book is called Cycles of Pain.
Yes.
You have a Kindle version, a hardcover, and a paperback edition.
Yes.
How active are you on social media?
I need to be a little bit more active. I actually need a social media coach. So if you'd like to be a coach, I'm active in terms of,
How old is your grandchild?
She probably could help me.
Yeah, definitely.
She's 15 years old.
She's right. That coach. Yeah, that's her. That is her stuff right there.
She could definitely help me. Now, from this, before I forget, after I finished writing the book, then I started this coaching practice. I called it 5-Star Coaching, and it's life, it's career, wellness, business coaching, and all of it comes from some experience because I've been in marketing and advertising all my life. I figured as a life coach, I've experienced some things in life, and I've also, taken some courses. I'm a very educated young lady. Let's say young. Okay. So I started looking at that in career development. I wanted to reach out to people that have been going through some things in life. If I can help them get back on their feet, it's women and men too that have gone through a divorce and they're like, "Oh, I don't even know. I haven't worked in a while." So I'm good at interviewing and helping them put together a plan on how to get that job landed.
That is wonderful.
I want to give back.
So you can help people in both ways.
Exactly. So I'm trying to give back.
Okay. So if people want to get your book, they can get on Amazon.
Yes, get on Amazon. They can go directly to my website, which is www.cyclesofpainlparker.com.
Okay. And as I said, Kindle, hardcover, and paperback books all available on Amazon. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the African American Authors and Empowerment Expo. You're going to be there?
Yes, I will be attending that. It's October the 7th. I attempted to try to go about maybe a couple years ago, but unfortunately I registered and everything, but something came up, so I did have to cancel. But so this will be my first trip. Okay,
so that is good. It's really going to be a very good opportunity to network with other authors, but also readers, purchase books, get pictures and that type of thing. So it's going to be really nice. You're going to have people of all ages there.
Okay.
And so it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think that's really good that people will be able to meet you in person and, like you said, sign some books and, just hug and talk and cry and laugh and all the things that come with that. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, just buy the book. Come see me. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to meeting anyone who'd like to come by my table where I'll be. And I'm just so honored here to be with Radio on Fire with Diamond K. And I appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. Definitely. And I enjoy talking to authors a lot. I talk a lot of trash a lot of times, but I definitely like to get serious and talk with authors and talk about different things like that. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk to my next author. I want to take some pictures with you.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Please. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back after this.